Hi everyone, my name is Anirudh, and recently I've been curious about understanding human desire. Why do people behave in a certain way? Why do people have certain desires that they cling towards and they really want and deeply chase? What are the variables? What are the external forces that influence that they're gonna chase this or they're gonna chase? Whether it's love, whether it's money, whether it's status, whether it's power or validation, whatever it is. Why do people chase certain things in life? And that was kind of wandering in my mind since last week, and I talked to a few people about it, watched a few things on it, like psychology wise, etc. A lot of it comes down to our childhood and inner observation as well. So there was a lot of variables that kind of interplayed and came into me forming this understanding about why people behave in a certain way, what desires people have, and whether it's from my experience or watching other people around me, just observing people and how they behave and tracking their past, because I'm 23 right now, and there has been somewhat of the past 6-7 years where I have had autonomy over my life and my brain and how it's developing, and I'm very curious in terms of staying aware to what sort of behaviors I cling towards, or what sort of thoughts, notions or ideas I have inside me that I want to see happening in my life, and why do I do that? And I have all these questions about my mind and how it operates. And then when you come to the understanding, you kind of see other people around you and you can kind of play back their life and see why they're behaving that way. You can almost see there's a few factors that influence action. Most of the time, most people, they usually act out of fear, deep-rooted fear or anxiety that they themselves don't know about, but they act because of that fear. And if you dive a little bit deeper into their history, into what they're kind of pursuing right now and how that links to their childhood or when they were born, etc. So for the past week, I was kind of curious about understanding the pattern of action taking, the pattern of desires, the pattern of behavior in all humans. Why do we do certain things that we do? Why is everybody different in terms of the actions, etc.? So yeah, it came down to this observation or understanding, which is, again, it's not solidified or it's not like ground reality. It's just me exploring new ideas, which I'm here to share with you. And if it resonates with you, or if you have any questions, or if you have any things, and from my perspective, it's not, again, I'm open to learning more, so it's not solidified. Anything that I say, any of my understandings that I share with you, it's not solidified. It can change, and maybe it will evolve over time. I'm not sure, but I'm always open to learning and open to understanding. So take this with a grain of salt, but here is my observation on why people behave a certain way and why do they take action for certain things. So action and thought and behavior has certain variables that influence that, and those variables come from your childhood. I'll give you my example firstly. So back in my childhood, I was up to like around 5-6. I grew up in a pretty well-off, high middle class family. We were back in India, and we had a certain level of wealth. My grandpa had a business, etc. So there was a certain level of wealth that we were kind of higher upper middle class. We were not super rich, but there was high upper middle class, and we took that decision to move to New Zealand. And that decision came out of, obviously, the wealth that we had there. So when we moved to New Zealand, we had to start from zero almost. So when I was like 6-7, I moved to New Zealand with my family. And after that, we started seeing the struggle of immigration, etc. And, you have to start again. And it's all from zero. So I saw that happening, and I saw a lot of compromises, not in the sense that I'm not getting what I want in terms of needs, but wants. So if I wanted, like, I always questioned, like, why can't we afford this, or why can't we afford that, etc. Obviously there was no like need for the things, and our needs were always met. Like, my parents provide all the needs that were required for human existence. But in terms of wants, like, I always question, why do people have different things to us, etc. Why do they have more, etc. I remember the first time someone got an iPhone in my primary school. I think it was like year 6, etc. I remember I like questioned, I was like, how does he have that? Like, because you just genuinely want to know, like, what is it that they have that and I don't, So that kind of led me on this train track of, and my parents when they came here, again, there was a lot of struggle. So we were like middle class, so we weren't like upper middle class, so we didn't have like, our needs were being met, but the wants, again, there was a lot of compromise at the wants level. So, and I saw that struggle, so I didn't want to obviously ask my parents because they were already working hard, and yeah, I was waiting for my age to turn 16 so that I could start working. So, and that that whole, like, when I was 16, 13, 14, like, when I saw growing up, when I saw this compromise in life because of lack of money, for once, I questioned, why do some people have certain things? And that kind of led me on that track of, maybe money is like really important. Maybe money is like, it's like super important for existence. And that kind of probably ingrained in my mind. And then growing up, I started to read a lot of Think and Grow Rich and all those like self-development books when I was like in year 9, around 13, 14. I started to go on that journey of complete self-development, figuring out what money is, why and how money is used, like the psychology around money, what we need to become to get money, etc. So I delved deep into this self-development industry at a young age, and I was like, the only way is actually business. So and like that kind of led me on that path of understanding financial freedom, understanding what money can do for you, etc. And that whole, like, if I track back to that chase, like, why am I chasing money from childhood, is because there was a lack of it in my childhood in terms of wants. So whereas I saw my other people around me, my colleagues, etc., my classmates, etc., I saw them around me like chasing love or chasing relationships, etc. So, and then you see those behavioral patterns, and you can somewhat track back and see the way that people behave around you. Their desires are stemming from their childhood, then their need in their childhood to be validated or have power or chase money or chase love, because they probably didn't get that in their childhood. So that kind of whole understanding led me to this exploration of, what if people had good childhoods? What if people were given love? What if a childhood was, obviously it can't be perfect, but what if there was some level of security in a child? And my parents always told me this one thing, that a lot of people, like a lot of children around me I saw growing up, my parents gave me a lot of time when I was growing up, and I think the love was always there. That in itself, like giving time in itself, is complete love and devotion towards children, and that was their main priority, is ensuring that they give us enough time. And they always told me that, like, you see children around you, and like you're growing up with them, and you see how they are very obnoxious, or they're very like agitated, or you can see their fast thinking or restlessness. It's restlessness. A lot of children have that restlessness, and that stems back from their parents not giving enough time to their children. Time meaning love. So yes, a lot of the people that I see now, and they've grown up, and like you can still see people when they grow up, they're still broken in the sense that they continue to seek validation, continue to seek love. Not that to seek these things is wrong, but it's wrong out of desperation, because out of desperation, if you seek anything, it gets taken away from you faster. If you seek anything out of desperation, you're on this verge of losing that more than you will attain it. Coming from security, there are two worlds in this, like you can say world. There's a world of security, and then there's a world of insecurity. And between these two worlds, people operate, or either you're secure completely or you're insecure. You're not middle, like there is no middle ground for certain things in life. Maybe there is a middle ground, but you can probably be secure for some things. You can probably be insecure for some things, and there is this transition which you want to do, which you want to go from insecurity to security, and that security comes from being secure in yourself. That lack of security comes from your childhood, in terms of understanding that you are not given security. You are not given security at a psychological level, in the sense that when a child is asking for time or love, or they don't get that and they're anxious about it, sometimes their parents give them objects to play with as a replacement for time or love, but that is kind of empty, and the child understands that. You're more perceptive to understanding your parents and noticing their behaviors, and noticing, because you're downloading almost a lot of the data that is around you very quickly, and you learn things very fast. So it's very easy for you, because you're so aware, to pick up on a lot of things about how society behaves, what is happening, how you're growing, and all those patterns lead you to becoming an adult, which is either secure or is insecure. And sometimes when you're as a child, sometimes when you're, especially in the Indian society, there's a huge aspect of not that I'm trying to put one society in, but the general culture is of that you have to be successful, that you have to be you have to get good grades, whatever it is. It's kind of ingrained, and like failure is looked at as really bad. So when a child is like growing up and there is that fear of failure because the parents have ingrained that fear of failure, the child ends up becoming insecure. That if they make a decision which is wrong, the fear of failure comes from you not trusting yourself, not trusting your decisions. That's when the failure in itself is an external thing. Like it's not dependent on, it's an external variable. It's you can't influence it. You can only act in a certain way, and those success or failure is not almost in your hands. It's not in your hands. But when you try and grapple with that, when you want success, there's a fear of failure as well. And that fear of failure is nothing but just lack of trust in your decisions and how you wish to play your actions out. So when you have a fear of failure, you're more likely not to take action than when you trust yourself and you know whether it's failure or success, it's going to be fine. Like because you're secure, you can build it again, you can do everything again. You understand that you have infinite abundance in you, and you're secure, and you have like that safety inside you because you exist. That is a very hard thing for a lot of people in this kind of era right now, especially in the era of AI, etc. So you can see that there is tension, there is insecurity rising in people, especially social media, even making people even more insecure, kind of projecting other people's lives, which is so good. So there are a lot of things that influence a person's mind, which stem from their childhood, and as they grow up, those variables either increase or decrease from how their childhood has been conditioned. So if they are secure, if the child is secure in themselves, they would end up growing up being open and trusting to more other humans, and open to more new experiences, and taking more risks, and not fearing things, and not being anxious. This security comes in every aspect of life. And if you see it's insane to kind of track back people and their behavior right now, whatever they desire right now. You can see why they desire it, because they were longing for it in their childhood. And you'll notice this pattern in almost everybody. Why do people do things? Yeah, why do they want things? Some people want power, some people want validation, some people want fame, some people want money, some people want love, etc. So all these things that people want, they desire deeply within, it stems from the lack of it in their childhood. And not that this is this is simply just a psychological understanding. I'm not sure it will help you. If it helps you, it helps you. It's just an understanding that will maybe influence your behaviors to see what deeper healings you need, deeper understanding of yourself. This understanding can give you a much more, you'll probably be much more aware of your behaviors and actions going forward, and you can see where and what you need to work on. Because everything is linked. A lot of these like concepts of fear, anxiety, security, insecurity, everything is linked. And if you solve one thing, let's say, becoming secure, almost all pieces fall into place. And you'll be surprised at how life can simply flow if you can trust yourself. Good night.